Hello, and good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of WTF, WTF, otherwise known as What the Flip, what the French toast, what the fried eggs, whatever you want to call it. This podcast will delve into videos that are popular and have been trending or are trending on the internet, and we're going to dive into it, and we're going to react to it, and when possible, debunk and or explain things to you. The video today, once again, comes from Just Pearly Things. Shout out to Just Pearly Things. This was a 2-hour, 30-minute show, and I watched roughly half of it before putting it down because I was doing other things, whatever. And I watched 2 minutes of it and felt the need to make this reaction video. So what I intend to do now is I'm going to dive into parts of this video, and I'm going to make the case that modern women today are delusional. Under no circumstances. They are gone. Train left the station, but they're still at the platform. And in particular, there's one young lady in this video who epitomizes delusion. She also embodies narcissism. She fancies herself the dominant one on the couch. And we're going to find out whether there's any truth to that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the video. We're there now. And I'm going to let her talk a little bit, and then we're going to break it down from there.
Right.
Like that was a national hit because a lot of people related to it.
They related to it. So what the difference between men and women is when a man gets into a relationship, and plus a woman wants a man with sexual experience. A woman does not want a man who doesn't know what he's doing in the bedroom, doesn't know how to please her. You don't want a man that's a virgin that's like, oh my God, where's your clitoris? Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. You don't want that guy, right? But a man would prefer to have a woman with less sexual experience and teach her as to what it is that he wants,
so
right?
So you guys don't like girls that are active?
No, of course not.
We don't want a girl who's been ran through by the whole street.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
I mean,
wait.
A girl that's been run through is not wifeable.
Can I ask you a question, though? Okay, so let's talk about this, because obviously we're talking about a man's happiness, yeah?
Bonus points for anyone who identified this woman as what I was talking about previously. This woman, don't know her name, don't care to know her name, is someone who feels the need to be right. She is the N in sign language. And sign language, thanks to Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, is shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. This woman is the need to be right. Everything she says is right. Even when it's dead wrong, it's right. She's the person who will be sitting somewhere on the street with signs saying such and such and such, change my mind. And that'd be a sucker bet because she's never going to change her mind. She could know she's dead wrong. She could know she's lost the argument. She could know she's been taken to task and proven wrong, and still swear up and down she's right. And you're like, how can you be this way? How can you be this way? Before I let this play, I'm going to preface this with something a bit earlier from the clip. There is another woman on the panel. Her name is Linda. And she's sitting on the upper left-hand corner of your screen. She's got her sunglasses and she's got on a mask. She is a 20-year-old virgin. I'll say that again. She is a 20-year-old virgin. And the question was asked, was this woman, who's at 29 years of age, been abused, have all this baggage, up against Linda, who would they choose? And she says it depends. Bull! The two main criteria that men look for in a prospective mate is fit, and they're looking for purity, aka virginity. If you got to choose between a 20-year-old virgin and a 29-year-old chick from the streets for a wife, not a good time, a wife, because if it's a good time, she wins every time. If you're looking for a good time, I don't want the virgin. I want the chick who's been around the block a couple times. But if I'm looking for a wife, which is what she was asked, if you're looking for a prospective mate, who are you going to choose? And she's like, it depends. No. You lose 10 times out of 10. Because you have something men don't want. You've got baggage. Pearl has often said on her shows, men value the past, women value the future. And there's nothing more true than in that scenario. Men are looking back at the past of these two women. One has no past, one has a ton of stuff. It's easy. I want the chick who doesn't have baggage. I want someone that I can start with a blank slate and build on. That's who I want for my wife. And that is a rarity because it's very rare that you find someone that old who hasn't slept around yet. And she was on another podcast, and she said she's going to wait until marriage. And to that I say, bravo. Don't let anybody tell you any differently. Don't let anyone try to make fun of you and you allow it because you haven't stepped around. Because you value yourself. You value what you bring to the relationship. And you're not compromising on it. And to that I can say, well done. But now, in the pursuit of entertainment and buffoonery, I'm getting back to the topic. I'm getting back to the conversation.
She may be a virgin, but she knows nothing about man's happiness. I'm not a virgin. I'm 30, but I know everything about man's happiness.
Don't.
I had to stop it. Because what she's saying may be true from a woman's point of view, but it has no bearing on a man's point of view. When you're looking for a wife, someone you want to spend the rest of your life with, you ideally look for someone who has purity and youth. Purity. Linda's a virgin. She's not. Youth. Linda's 20. She's 29. If you ask anybody, whether it be an alpha, whether it be a beta or sim, whether it's a sigma, whether it's an everyday Joe, and put those two women on a pedestal, on stage, and ask them, judging on what you see and the little bit of what you know, and this is all superficial because it's all visual, it's aesthetics. Which woman would you pick for your mate? Now there are some that would pick Miss 29-year-old. But there's a method to their madness. They're not being honest with themselves. Because in honesty, you want purity and you want youth. They'll pick her because they feel, whether rightly or wrongly, that she's about to hit the wall hard, and she's gonna pick the first person that comes to her doorstep after she hits that wall. That's why I said at the beginning of the show, I want to meet the person that dates her. I want to meet the person who is unlucky enough to have to deal with her every day. Because the way she's thinking now and the way she's talking now, two things are going to happen. Either A, she's going to change and be the guy be the girl the guy wants her to be, or she's going to be single. And it doesn't matter. I've heard people say, I'd rather be single. You say that now. You say that now. Give me that same energy in 6 months, in a year's time. When your brain realizes something your body saw 6, 9 months, a year ago. When your brain was telling you, we're approaching the wall, we're going to have to change course. We're approaching the wall where you're going to have to change course. And you went, no. I am bulletproof. I'm invincible. The wall will bend to me. I got news for you. The wall is undefeated. The wall is undefeated. And as long as there is time, the wall will continue to be undefeated. As I said in the earlier show, you can slow time, but you cannot stop it. You can delay the inevitable. You can live off borrowed time, but that bill will come due. And when it does, what you got then? There's a song, I think it was, I forget the name of the group, but the song was, what you gonna do when the beauty fades? And that is directed more toward women than men, because women rely, that's their currency. Their looks are their currency. And it tends to depreciate over time. What looks good at 18 looks better at 23, but then doesn't look as good at 29, which doesn't look as good as at 30, which is better than 34, which is better than 45, which is better than 59, until you die. Looks deteriorate over time. Beauty changes into something else. Beauty changes into maturity. There's going to come a time in everybody's life where they're going to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I don't look the way I used to. What now? Especially the single. I don't look as good as I used to. I don't feel the way I used to feel. I don't have guys beating down the door at me at 35 that I did when I was 22. Doors are being closed in my face at 35. Doors are being... No one's holding the door for me anymore. Why? I'll tell you why. Because of attitudes like this chick here. Let's go on and hear some more.
This is hypothetical.
Let's say
I'm sure she knows, but I'm just saying hypothetically.
Okay, but even if you do know, what men are still gonna choose the younger one because when you're 30, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me give a good example.
But here's the difference.
So is that happy marriage? Is that gonna last?
You at 30.
It is gonna last.
You at 30 don't bring anything more of value. You're more you're more damaged.
Your looks are fading away.
And you've actually said you're more damaged because you've been in an abusive relationship.
And this is the thing.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say that I'm damaged, and this is another problem that I think people have. You are damaged only.
She lies through her freaking teeth. Sarah said, you said that you're damaged. I heard you say you were damaged. No, I didn't say I'm damaged, and this is why. You were lying then, or you're lying now. Which one is it? I'll wait. You were lying then, or you're lying now. Which one? Educate me. I can already tell you from the limited talking points that she's had during this conversation that I don't believe a word she says. She could tell me the sky is blue and I'd be like, liar. Because all she does is lie. She changes the goalposts. She switches topics. She changes her viewpoints. And she doesn't even realize that she's the one moving the goalposts. The goalposts are moving because she's pushing it, yet she'll be the one complaining that they're moving. Why? Where do you get off, firstly, telling people that you know more than they do, so they should listen to you? Telling people they don't know what they're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. I know what you don't know what you want. I know what you want. I'll tell you what you want. No, you don't know. And you don't know because you don't listen. You don't listen. You'll never know because you never listen. Talk, and ain't talking about shit.
obviously when you decide to not go and face the traumas that you've had to deal with. I have actually dealt with a lot of traumas. I understand what happened to me. I'm sitting here and I'm speaking this passionately and powerfully because I think that people are very wrong about some of the conceptions that they have about women and what a modern woman is and what a woman wants and what a man needs. By going what you're saying, yeah, basically what you want out of a woman is just a pussy.
Okay,
because she
but-
needs to be...
No. And too many people think that way. Too many women think that way. That's not what he said. If you ask the man, he'd fucking tell you. Ask him. And listen to what he says. Nobody at any point during this conversation, up to this point, that I heard, said all they want a woman for is pussy. Unless it's for a good time. Then all bets are off. Then yes. But we're not talking about all men. We're not talking about the one night stands and the hookups and things like that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about relationships. Specifically, relationships that will ultimate and culminate in marriage. That's what we're talking about. Nobody at any point said that they're looking for a woman for pussy. And if you notice, the pushback was almost immediate. And she doesn't see it. She's going to continue talking. If I was a woman, I'd be embarrassed right now for my kind. Because she is the stereotypical poster child for modern women today. She has to be right. And come hell or high water, she's going to be right. She's going to prove to you that she's right, whether you want to believe it or not. Which is a very, very dangerous way of thinking. Because to get to that conclusion, she has to assume that men are idiots. And they need her to educate them. That men need her to tell them about themselves so that they can better themselves according to what she's looking for in a potential person. Never mind the fact that she's wrong. Never mind the fact that she doesn't know what she's talking about. Never mind the fact that she talks in word salad and she talks in double speak and she talks in circles. Let's call her Miss Roundabout. Because she's just like a roundabout. She talks in circles. Unbelievable.
If you're saying trauma than that, what man is going to want to deal with that bullshit?
But you don't have to deal with it because I dealt with it. I'm a mature woman.
No, but you're still going to reflect it and project it on the guy in the relationship.
No, but the thing is when you're over something, you don't talk about it.
I'm talking about it.
I'm saying...
Touchdown. If you noticed, and you noticed when you watched her videos, she doesn't talk a whole hell of a lot. She listens. And she interjects based upon what she hears with the facts. Nobody that listens to just pearly things and listens to it consistently will tell you anything different.
I'm saying, like, when you're going around, like, on a public podcast saying, like, that this happened, it indicates to me you're not over it.
Just
like
you're insecure.
Again, she's bringing up her past. The only reason why you bring up your past is because you're not over it. You haven't dealt with it. You don't have closure. There are plenty of things that happened to me in life. You won't hear me talk about them because they're over. I'm done with it. The past is in the past. I'm not going to sit there and dredge up something that happened 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 25, 30, 40 years ago. Because I can't change it. I can't change it. What's done is done.
It's like
No.
if a girl's constantly talking about her ex, she's not over it.
She's
But
not.
when she stops bringing it up and you forget he
How
exists.
about a man that keeps bringing his ex like in the
Is
That's
this
a red
actually-
flag.
No,
It's a
no.
red
But
flag.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
something.
You know what
He's
is?
still not over it.
You know what?
flag.
You
Yes,
know what
yes.
is? Yeah, women like to talk about the guys that with the red flags that did me this. Why are you not talking about the guys that treated you
Yeah.
good?
I'll
Of
tell
course
you-
you don't, because
okay.
you don't give a shit
I'll
about
tell you,
them.
no. I'll tell you two things. One, the intention behind everything that you do is important. I didn't come here to do anything other than to try and bring light to the fact that people are being really miseducated and actually pointing finger
In
at
what
women.
sense?
Because if we go by numbers and we say women do this, the modern woman means this, the modern woman is this, the modern. It's actually really frustrating because not every woman is the same.
Nobody said they were. Nobody has said that all women are the same. But the majority of women tend to exhibit the same traits. And that's where we get our generalizations from. Everything in life has some truth to it. People talk about stereotypes. Stereotypes have their basis in truth. Our stereotype would be all black people like chicken. Do all black people like it? No. But enough do to make that generalization and that stereotype. Men cheat. Do all men cheat? No. Do a majority of men cheat? No. But enough men do cheat to breathe life to that stereotype and that generalization.
Not
Modern
every-
woman is a
Wait,
group
wait,
of women,
wait.
not every
No,
woman.
I know, and this is what I'm trying to explain to you. I'm just here
But
because
women just say men are trash. They don't even.
and not all
They
men.
don't even
Not
say
all
modern
women
men.
say
And
that.
I don't even
I don't
say
think
that.
I don't say that
The
either.
reason why I even spoke about my ex is because, again, I'm using that as an example for education. If I want to give you an example of education for what a good woman, a good man is for a woman, I can talk to you about my angel ex, actually. The ex.
And once again, he's an angel, but he's an ex. That's something, we'll come back in a minute. But why is he your ex? If he was an angel, why is he your ex? If he was so good to you, if you really, really appreciated him, wouldn't you still be with him? Wouldn't you be singing his praises from the highest rooftops? Wouldn't you be saying things and acting on things and doing things and being things that put this man in a positive light? woman is everything that's wrong with society in general, and modern women in particular. Is she agreeable? Nope. Would you consider her friendly? Nope. I would consider her combative. I would consider her nonsensical. Because a lot of things she said don't make no sense. They make sense to her and her warped brain, but they make no sense to me. If we're going to have a debate, if anyone is going to have a debate on a topic, they honestly should be open to the counter argument. They should. That's why I have debates sparingly. Because there are certain things that I believe that have been reinforced through anecdotal experience, through statistics, through data, through everyday life, that are now irrefutable. They're etched in stone in my brain. And you have better luck arguing with a brick wall. Because at least a brick wall can't disagree with you. Where do they find these people? And once again, I understand why she's there. And as I've said before, Eric Bischoff said it best, controversy sells. And she's on this show to create controversy. And she's doing a bang-up job of it. But that begs the question, does she believe her smoke? Does she believe her own rhetoric? I was go so far as to say because of the passion that she's experiencing and displaying, she does. And it goes back to words in mouth. Nobody said that men get with girls for pussy. Nobody said that. Nobody even thought it. But it came out of her mouth like it's a given.
That was so sweet, bless him. He wasn't working at the time because he was studying, but I was working. And you know what he did? He used to take my shoes off for me when I'd get in the house. Say,
Yeah, but
you know
you're not
what?
with him.
I'm not with him. Do you know why I'm not with him?
Because he was too nice?
No, because his international visa ran out and we couldn't make it
So
happen.
you would be with him?
I would be with him.
You would be with him?
Where is he now?
He's in Nigeria. It's a very complicated situation. So
would
I know.
Would you move to be with him?
Wait. What would you say, Pearl?
I don't know if I'll be able to move to Nigeria because actually things are really difficult there. It's not safe for me.
That's
and
right.
I call liar. And this is why I call liar. If he is all these things to you, you make it work. I'll give you an example, a personal example. After my wife and I got married, one day she was talking to her mother on the phone. Her mother wasn't doing very well. And my wife wanted to go be with her mom. My wife is British. She lives in a town 3,000 miles to my east. So she tells you about it. Now, we're newlyweds at this point. But I can tell you hand on heart today, the answer will still be the same. And the answer was that she told me, can we do this? When do you want to do it? We need to get the ball rolling. What can we do to facilitate this? What can I do to help you? Because in helping you, I'm helping us. And there was no hesitation. There was no thinking about it. There was no, I'll get back to you on it. No. We made it work. And the decision to make it work was born from, okay, we're going to England. My wife wants to be in England to be with her mom. I want to be with my wife. Simple. Okay, let's listen to a little bit more of this, then we'll wrap it up.
That's the thing.
Okay.
So
I get it.
there's so many different situations. Then this is what I'm trying to say to people. There's context behind everything. We can never just point the finger.
Don't you think, like, as adults, we can understand that there's nuance? Like, that we're clearly not talking about every woman?
Yes,
Like,
but the
and
problem is we need to be able to specify this
No, but
because we
I want to apologize right now for stopping the video as much as I am. But this chick gives me no choice. Context is a given. Nuance is a given. You can talk about a group of people, and it is generally accepted that you're talking about a group of people unless you get specific. If you don't get specific in talking about the thing, it is assumed and agreed that you're talking about everybody as a whole. There are exceptions to every rule. We know this. We don't need to bring it up every 15 seconds. We know that there's a guy doing X, Y, Z, but his friend is doing A, B, and C. We know this. We don't need to be reminded of it. Unless it is brought to our attention because it's going to facilitate or expand upon the topic at hand.
We have a responsibility to be specific.
I just think as adults, like, we can gather it's not every single person. And
Listen,
so I think
ignorance is rife.
I think it's a really unproductive conversation is if we say something about in general and they say, but not all, when we know that that's a thing. Like, even like when I say, well, women say men are trash, you're like, but not all women say that.
So,
but okay, but we know that a lot of
so
women
what is the
do.
purpose of what you're doing? To point the finger, or do you want the best solution?
It's not to point the finger. It's to talk about how women have a hard time holding each other accountable.
Okay.
And that is every conversation that she has, every podcast that she has, all comes down to accountability, or better yet, the lack of accountability. Everything. And she is the poster child for unaccountability. Nothing's her fault. Nothing. It's the guy's fault. It's society's fault. It's never her fault. And that's why she won't grow. Because at some point, someone's got to beat her into her head the fact that life doesn't owe her jack, and she's not the center of the universe. And that's what all this stuff comes down to. When women are born as little girls, they're the center of the universe. Mom tells them, dad tells them. Constantly. You're my princess. You're my princess. You're my baby girl. As you get older, it goes into society. Mom, I'm a princess. You're a queen. You're a diva. So by the time they enter the dating marketplace, all this is locked in. It's gospel. I'm a princess. I'm a queen. I'm a 10. And we have to take responsibility for it because we lie. Or, more accurately, we tend to bend the truth. Yes, you're a princess. To me. Yes, you're a queen. To me. Yes, you're a 10. To me. I don't and can't speak for anybody else. And there are going to be people out there who think, no, she's a 2, she's a 3, she's a 4, she's not a queen, she's a jester. She's not a princess, she's a peasant. And I know you can always say, if you can't say nothing nice, then say nothing at all. But people aren't like that. People will say that. People will say what's on their minds, whether you want to hear it or not. It's up to us as individuals to separate the wheat from the chaff. Take what we want out of the situation that's going to enrich us and help us to grow and develop into better people, and discard the rest. I sincerely hope and I say this with all honesty, I sincerely hope that girl gets a check. Hockey style. Bump up against the boards check. Because that's what it's going to take to dislodge a lot of what she's saying out of her head. You are a walking, talking specification. What you've gone through, while not desirable to say the least, has no bearing on the general population as a whole. What goes on, what you're talking about, is specific to you. You. It has no bearing upon greater society. And as proven time and time again, some of it is false. some of it is garbage. I didn't know what I was going to call this show when I first started. Hence, there was no name given. We just dove right in. But we're going to call it Delusion. The Delusion of Modern Women. Now, not every woman will fit that stereotype. Not every woman that you meet will be lumped into that bucket. But you know that. You are well aware of the fact that everyone does not march to the same drum. We are not a monolith. None of us are. But there's enough of us that think a certain way, that view certain things and act upon certain things that fit that stereotype. And it's up to us to be better about it. Final thoughts are this. Women today who think a certain way, who move a certain way, who act a certain way, can be defined as delusional. Insanity. And as we all know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And then getting bent out of shape when it turns out to be the same. Insane. Insanity 101. Ladies, listen. Don't talk. Listen. Learn something. If this means you have to walk around with a pen and pad in your pocket, do it. Well, I sincerely want to thank you one and all for allowing me this event. Goodness knows I needed it. And once again, to operate on the rule of 5. Like, comment, subscribe, notification, share. Do the hand. Those 5 separate actions are intertwined and together will help grow us. And with that being said, this is OBJ, your highly favored, humble, and grateful host, saying thanks for listening, thanks for watching, be safe out there, and until the next, see you later.